What's the point of a liberal arts education? It's not to make you rich. That probably doesn't surprise you. It's not, it's not to make you impressive at cocktail parties with your knowledge of Shakespeare and ability to quote Sophocles. It's not to give you high status or standing. Now, there's nothing wrong with any of those things. I like entertaining cocktail party conversation. I want you to get a great job and make a lot of money. Remember, wash you. Did I get that right? Yeah, I think
Yes.
I got that right? And in itself, there's nothing wrong with seeking to elevate yourself, seeking to be respected, to have high standing, to be a person who has influence, use it for the good. But those are not the fundamental purposes of a liberal arts education. Now, I'm going to put it to you in the polite way. Cornell's not going to be so polite. Here's the polite answer. The purpose of a liberal arts education is to enable the learner, enable you and me, to lead an examined life. The purpose of a liberal arts education is to unsettle us, to cause us to question our beliefs and to form our beliefs based on reflection, deliberation, reasoned judgment, which means that we always have to be open to the possibility that we are what? Wrong.
Absolutely.
Which means we have to recognize, that's the hardest part of all, our own fallibility. Now, if I ask, and I won't do it, I don't want to put anybody on the spot. If I ask, is there anybody in this room who is certain that he or she is not wrong about anything you believe? No hands would go up. You all recognize your fallibility. We up here recognize our fallibility. I know right now I am wrong about some things. Cornell keeps telling me that, but I know I'm wrong. But here's the problem. I don't know which ones they are. There's a little paradox here, right? If you take me through all my beliefs, each one I hold under the description of being true. That's why I believe it. I didn't believe it was true. I wouldn't believe it at all. And yet I know they can't all be right. I know I have to be wrong about some things. So how do I deal with that? Well, if I value truth above opinion, if I value truth in the way Socrates values truth and teaches us to value truth as being something so precious that we're willing to give up the complacency of being settled, the ease of being settled to get at the truth, then what I need is an interlocutor. He may be a living human being, maybe somebody I'm reading in a book. I need someone who will challenge me, who will unsettle me. And not just in the trivial beliefs, not just in the secondarily important beliefs, but in my deepest, most cherished, even identity-forming beliefs. Now that's hard. That's hard to open yourself up to that kind of examination and self-examination. And that's because we are naturally complacent and comfortable with our opinions. We build our sense of self out of those opinions. We build communities with other people who are like-minded and share opinions. And we value those relationships and we don't want to put them at risk. We want to be known as a team player, as a right-thinking person, whether that is actually a left-thinking person or a right-thinking person. We want to be, a person who thinks the correct things for our group. And we certainly have difficulty imagining what it would even be like to be the kind of person who disagrees with us, because we kind of don't like those kinds of people. We think there's something wrong with those kinds of people. So that recognition of fallibility is critical to one of the virtues that we need to lead the examined life, which is what liberal arts education is all about. And that is the virtue of humility, intellectual humility, the recognition, not just notionally, yeah, I must be wrong about something, but the deep existential conviction that I could very well be wrong. I am certainly wrong about some things. I could very well be wrong about some important things. The kinds of things that are so important that we wrap our emotions tightly around them. Notice that about us human beings. All of us. We wrap our emotions very tightly around our convictions. Now, in itself, again, that's not a bad thing. If we didn't have some emotional commitment to our convictions, we wouldn't do anything. You know, we wouldn't get the baby fed, get the children off to school. We wouldn't pursue our vocation or our calling in life. We wouldn't work for causes that we believe in. So there's nothing wrong in principle with having our emotions wrapped around our convictions, even fairly tightly. But if we wrap them too tightly, we become dogmatists. We become tribal. We tend to think anybody who disagrees with me or my group or my tribe or my clan is either a fool or a fraud. In any event, it's a bad person. And we demonize. Now, there's something else we need. We were talking about this earlier today. There's something else we need if we are to have that virtue of courage, which we need if we're to lead the examined life. Another virtue that's got to be imparted by a true liberal arts education, and that's the virtue of courage. Not the courage to face somebody else, the courage to confront yourself, the courage to be your own best critic, the courage to render yourself vulnerable to changes even in deep conviction. And this means you actually have to buy into an old adage that is profoundly true, but very difficult for us really to believe. And that is the adage that it's better to be Socrates dissatisfied than a pig satisfied. That means we're not after happiness. The point of a liberal arts education is not to make you happy, at least in the modern, contemporary sense of happiness, which connotes a pleasant state of mind, have a smile on your face that might be induced by the stuff I'm taking right now. Valium or something like that. Or getting on Bob Nozick's experience machine. Remember that, Cornell?
Oh,
the experience machine gives you all the pleasant experiences,
plug in.
but you don't actually do anything. Mm-hmm. You know? No, that's not the goal. Now, if we take the richer, older conception of happiness, what Aristotle called eudaimonia, the flourishing of the human being, the all-round integral fulfillment of the human being. Now we're getting closer to it. But that means we're willing to lead a life in which we don't rest complacently, where we're challenging and being challenged, where we're challenging ourselves and being our own best critic, and we don't have the satisfaction of having a dogma. Now, this is not against religion. There's a place for dogmas. But it means that even your religious beliefs have to be open to question. We can't shut down the person who wants to challenge them, even on the basis that my most fundamental identity is formed by my religion, my religious belief. We need to be open because even about things like that, we could be wrong.